My name's Diana Belshaw. I'm a nurse. I work at Imperial College.
I'm Mirat Kaur, so I'm a researcher that works in an organisation called ARC Northwest London. It's the National Institute of Health Research funded programme.
And I'm Ronnie Rich, and I run FitBanker, and we coach and empower people in the area of health, fitness, leadership and adventure. My experience of COVID, then going into lockdown, if I were to be really honest, at the start when it began, there was an aspect of annoyance, of frustration, of lack of clarity of information of what's really going on, especially as a young parent with young kids. And we were expecting, we were about 8.5 months pregnant at the time. We of course went into labor during lockdown. We had everything planned. My wife went into labor 8 days earlier, and so the ambulance didn't get home in time. We didn't get to the hospital. Suddenly, from a water breaking, I think within 17 minutes. And so we immediately call emergency services, we call the midwife. They completely guide us over the phone. Next thing you know, we're holding a beautiful baby in our hands. And this probably has been my highlight of lockdown.
My research programme is really good in the sense that it has to be responsive to what's going on. We kind of all came together with the community groups that we all work with and realised actually, look, we really need to start understanding what's going on and hearing from people on the ground and capturing their experiences. One, so that we don't lose people's stories, but also that we learn from what happens and we can kind of improve how we do things next time. So we set up a collective called Community Voices. Essentially that aims and does gather stories from all over Northwest London. And it helps us target improvements or understand actually what's going on that people are really concerned about. We've heard quite a lot of stories about our communities and how they're adapting or coping, and it's a varied picture. So you've got community groups who were already only just making ends meet before COVID, and then COVID happened, and there might be people like taxi drivers or the types of profession where when lockdown happened, their business completely went down. So these are families that are really struggling to make ends meet, and during that beginning time, it would be literally cases like, there'd be a husband and wife and a number of kids, and they just wouldn't have actual food, which is quite hard to hear, I think, when you're living in London, which, you've got some of the most affluent people in the world in this one city, and then you've got some of the poorest in the world, and they're living literally streets away. The solutions would come from other groups, other charities, other community groups. Initially, it wasn't coming from big businesses or anything like that. It was coming from localised community groups or charities who provided hot food. But then we've got longer term issues, such as the one that we keep hearing about is families where there's one mobile phone but 3 children, and the mobile phone is the mum's. So we've heard that a lot, and we've heard this issue of it's not about people who don't have any devices, it's about these type of situations where people might tick the box of actually we do have the internet and we do have technology and we use it. But actually when you look at what they've got, it's not adequate for this type of modern life where we're all moving on to online tech. A solution for that needs to be found across the patch, it needs to be a bit higher up and there needs to be a consideration for that. So for me, I think the positive from COVID was the rich support networks that came out from the communities and how much they did, how much they mobilised immediately, quickly, amazingly, and going forward, I think we really need to harness that.
No, I totally agree. The community where I live, but also the community at the hospital, where everybody's worked together. And I just think, without community, you've got nothing. And people try and say that, there isn't community in London, but there is. And for me, the positive is that the community helped each other. Doesn't matter where you're from, what colour you are. Community is one big family, and that helped each other.
Regardless of my political opinions or views, I will be grateful for the support that the government and the councils, the role they played, and how swift they were in supporting small businesses like myself. And I'm somebody that is really grateful for that.